Hello there, Big Benedict here. This is my Gears of War Judgment Aftermath Insane Difficulty Guide and Walkthrough. This is the beginning of the walkthrough. Welcome. I want to just preface this walkthrough by saying that this is the campaign that is on the Judgment disc, and I don't know when it unlocks. Possibly after you defeat one campaign of Judgment. I'm not sure, but this I don't think it's DLC. I think it just came with the game. But it's actually very good DLC. You know, it's let's not call it DLC. It's a very good campaign in 5 parts, and it's got some length to it, and it's got some good depth and some great fights. There's a couple of areas that are a little dull, but by and large, it plays just like Judgment. But the strange thing is that you're going to be getting ribbons and such. It plays like Gears of War 3. But you get the ribbons and things like that, so you don't need to get the ribbons to pass this at all. You'll see ribbons come up, and if you want to go for ribbons and things like that, that's your own prerogative, and definitely do that if that's something you prefer to do. But this is much more. I'm not going to say that this campaign is on. I'm sorry, it's on Insane, but I'm not going to say that it's particularly easy, but it isn't excruciating like Gears of War, especially the final boss of Gears of War Judgment, but it is fairly casual compared to like the campaign of Gears 3, which is very difficult almost all the time, and you just get more of a break on the damage because it is on the Judgment system. So I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's just more relaxed of a campaign. So I'll be able to maybe reflect on my Judgment campaign a little bit in the walkthrough on this, and maybe some side tangents, because I don't usually get an opportunity to do that on walkthroughs that are so succinct. You know, in the Judgment walkthrough, the chapters were like 5 minutes each, and I barely had enough time to talk about what was going on in those because of the strict time limits. But you're back with Baird, and I've picked up the Digger. I usually don't use the Digger, but I find that it's actually quite fun to use. We're going to be coming outside and fighting some tickers. I don't think I'm going to actually fight them. I'm just going to run past them. It is not the easiest thing to run past them, but I was just trying to see if I could do it, and you definitely can. So you're going to be coming out here, and the Diggers are going to be coming at you. So the main fight on this chapter that's coming up, the one that's immersed in fog at first, is actually a really good fight, but it is strange though that it has fog at one point, but the fog does dissipate and it turns into a normal fight. If you're low on Digger rounds, you can get another Digger over here, possibly max out your Digger to level 6, or level 6, what am I talking about? 6 rounds. Anyway, once you get this next checkpoint, there's going to be some snipers across the way. There's a long shot too that you can pick up. I'm going to be carrying the long shot through several chapters just to experiment with something. Not through this chapter and the next, but I might bring it anyway. But I'm talking about going from chapter 3 into chapter 4. I always wanted to bring a long shot into it, and I found out that you can for certain advantages. And anyway, I do kind of a weird thing over here, but before I mention it, you don't have to kill these snipers. But I am laying 4 proximity mines with these frags because there's enemies that sprout up over here at various spots, and I use all 4 of them, those frags, to just try to see if I could hit anybody. And you usually do. If you set those frag grenades in the areas that I did, approximately, you'll get a bunch of kills. And then you don't have to fight a bunch of enemies in the fog, because at this point, the fog gets really dense, and you see all these ribbons that are coming up. We got ground bursting enemies getting killed in the air, and then when the smoke or the fog dissipates, there's going to be 2 more snipers in that building across the way. Those ones you do have to kill. Watch out for that door that gets flung onto this side of the area. That, if it hits you, is instant death, so you got to be careful with that. You've got some rangers and some what are they, grenadiers? You've got grenadiers, rangers. I like to call them park rangers, to be honest. Those guys are the ones that throw the Digger. And then you've also got some Ragers that, if you let them transform into their enraged form, could be bad news for you if they decide to hone in on you. I'm not sure what happens over here, but on this part, though, once everybody out here is cleared, you're going to be pushing up into the building to the right that has that red awning on it. And then you're going to be dealing with a couple of enemies that are dug in. It's usually Grenadiers. It could be a Rager if you haven't taken care of him. And when I say Rager, I just mean Form 1. If I say Enraged Rager, I'm talking about Form 2. But I like to try to pick up another Digger over here to kill these dug-in enemies. One of them has a long shot, and we're going to get some more ammo for that added to what we have now. And you might have wondered, why waste 4 frag grenades at first? Well, the thing is, there are 2 that you can pick up right after you use those 4. If you review the footage, you'll see that I picked up 2 more right after setting down those 4. And I've got to tell you, I love being able to place 4 grenades down. It's just gives you such freedom. I wish you could place more down, like 6 or 8. But I like to try to get an incendiary grenade drop over here. You often will find incendiary drops on this DLC, and they're really fun to use. And I have, it's not really a tactic, it's just something that I like to do with the incendiaries. So even if you do use all of your regular frag grenades, you can pick up these incendiaries, and they're really fun to use and potentially very damaging. And I'm not going to be throwing them at. I'm not going to be throwing the incendiaries around. I'm just going to be planting them where I know that spawns happen. I also wanted to mention on my last campaign of Gears of War Judgment, all the times that I was trying to lay frag grenades down on certain areas and the game wouldn't let me. Well, I got angry too fast that I didn't explain it properly what was happening. If the game has preset areas where it's going to spawn holes, and if you're hovering over that area trying to place a grenade onto those surfaces that are being kept in abeyance for those holes that the game is going to spawn, it's not going to let you put the grenade on that spot. So there's also 2 frag grenades over there if you want those. So it's not that it's necessarily broken, it's just that it's kind of a pain in the ass, the fact that in order to plant a grenade, you have to plant it on the outskirts of the hole, like around the hole somewhere, not necessarily on it, because otherwise it just won't work. The grenade won't stick. But that doesn't wholly excuse the whole mechanic of grenade planting from sometimes being abysmal to use. Anyway, you might have noticed a path diversion back there. This is definitely the more ideal way to go, because if you turn on that generator, you can go down into this room. Well, you're going to be going into this room next anyway, but if you have gone this way, this path, you're going to be able to open a door that will get you up to the 2nd level and give you more of an advantage. So this is the room. And if you have gone the other way, you won't be able to get into this area over here. It's not the end of the world, and I am going to be going downstairs as well, but I just wanted to mention that. Do you see that guy on the turret? You can get a piercing kill if you kill him and the guy behind him, but try not to do that. Try to only kill one guy if you want to follow my strategy. I'm going to be heading down here now, and I'm going to be placing 2 incendiary grenades at the point where I know these repellers come down. They come down, or excuse me, I think they're called abseilers, yeah. There's going to be 2 sets of abseilers that will land right in those areas where I put the incendiaries. And then when you come back, you definitely want to hustle. If your teammates kill too many people upstairs, where I'm going to set another proximity mine, the door will open before you can put a proximity mine outside of it. So that's why I say just kill one enemy before you start doing this. But do you see this door over here? There's going to be enemies that come out of that door. And if you want to put 2 over there, you can. I would advise saving 1, though, so that you can set another one down on the next zone. Although there are more, what was I going to say? There are more frag grenades, but they're kind of in a hard spot to reach. But I will show you. And once you've killed X number of enemies, that door across the way, there we go. It opened, killed everybody. I placed an incendiary in front of that door, and some enemies got away. So every time I placed a frag grenade, there's the abseilers getting all burned up there. Sometimes the abseilers don't always get all killed, but they can, and it's glorious when it happens. But I would highly recommend taking your long shot into this next area, because you're going to be sniping mortar enemies, and it's incredibly easy when you have the sniper. So there's a sniper rifle ammunition. I think there's 2 ammunition pickups for the sniper down there. So go pick that up. I think I'm at max, so I don't need to. But when you come over here, run up until your teammates say something, and then fall back immediately, because you're going to have some drones and grenadiers and whatnot coming up here. And there is shelter up and to the right under that that awning over there to the right. But you're a little bit too close to the enemies, and there's not enough cover over there. Plus, the mortar is shaking the screen. So if you just come back here, it's a lot better. Once that first wave is cleared, you're going to be in this position, and you want to sprint to the far side over here, because you want to be sniping the mortars from here. But mind that when you're doing this, there could be rushers coming up. In fact, there probably will be enemies rushing up here to screw with you. And it isn't always the easiest thing to pinpoint the locations of the mortars. So you're going to have to, just wait until they fire and see where the trail of smoke is coming from, and then just kind of pinpoint their location from that. Some of them from this location you just can't hit. So what you can do is just gradually go down the stairs once enough of the mortars. I think there's just like 2, maybe 3 at the most, but when there's just about one of them, you can charge him and go down the stairs, charge him, and then take care of everybody else. And you are going to get another checkpoint. This DLC gives you very frequent checkpoints. So here I am. I'm just really having a hard time finding that mortar. And I think I know where he is, actually, but I can't hit him. So I'm going to have to go down the stairs a little bit. And it doesn't necessarily matter what you bring into the next chapter, because you're going to be dealing with formers primarily. I think the whole chapter is formers. Probably not, though. I mean, there might be something other than a former at some point. But starting from chapter 3 on, you want to grab a long shot and carry it into chapter 4. It could help. It's not necessary. Don't worry about if you don't have it. I think it would be a mistake, though, once you get the final wave, which consists of two rangers and a boomer and another spawn of drones. If you want to pick up, well, let me say this: if the boomer drops his boom shot and you want to pick it up, go for it. But the boom shot is not going to help you on chapter 2. Feel free to carry weapons into any area you want. Feel free to hold on to weapons. Hornwind with weapons, as I like to say. And I think that's the last. I think I'll retire the word after that, because no one knows what that means except a few champions on my channel. But as we come down here now, we have no threat of any mortars, and we can pick off these enemies. The door over to the right that I'm going to stick a grenade in front of, this has a spawn. So once you kill all of these enemies, it's going to checkpoint, and you're going to be able to use the frag grenade to kill enemies as they come out of that door. However, as you may know, if you die and reset the checkpoint, that frag grenade is going to disappear. So this only will work if you place the frag grenade, go into the next checkpoint, and then don't die or reset or reload or anything like that. Be careful, though. There's some drones that spawn over to the left. I'm heading over here. I'm taking a little bit of a risk. I just want to have some grenades to throw, possibly, at the diggers. I'm sorry, the park rangers. There's the frags. There's a mortar over here too, but I don't want to fuss with it at this point. Everybody's over there. They will charge, though. They'll charge when their numbers dwindle. And you're just going to have to be really careful. There's a charger. Those shitty chargers. Those shit fucking chargers. But in a moment, we're going to get a checkpoint. And wherever you are on the map, it's going to checkpoint you right there every time you reload. So you want to get into an advantageous position. The closer you are to this door, if you have frag grenades, and you can throw a whole bunch of grenades when they come out, that will work. But if you're too far away, if you're up here somewhere and at checkpoints, you're not. It's not going to work. So you have to think in advance of what you want to do. But even so, you can just do the fight. I mean, you don't have to take all of these precautions. This is just how I like to play the game. Just take your cue, do your own thing, and just don't worry too much about me. I only make these walkthroughs because I really enjoy these games. This is not a big showboating ego fest. It truly isn't. Anyway, so as you move out of here, you probably will see a boom shot on the ground. Again, that's not going to help you on Chapter 2. In fact, it's not going to help at all, and it could hinder you actually too. So that has been the first. There's the first chapter of these 5 chapters for Aftermath. I did neglect to mention at the beginning of the video what chapter this was. This is Reunion, so I won't make that mistake again. But I did have some introductory things to say at the beginning of the walkthrough, so that's probably why it got lost in the shuffle, as it were. But anyway, that is finished. I will see you in the next chapter. Until then, please take care.